Hello, YouTubers, and welcome to my channel. My name is Isaac, and today I want to talk to you guys about retiring in your 50s. I don't have any boards on the back to now because I want to have an earnest conversation about this and give you the reasons why I think it is beneficial to retire in your 50s. We have been educated, literally, to having our mindset that we're to go to school, graduate school, go to college, maybe learn a trade, and work until we're 65 or 67. And at that time, get our Social Security, go out and retire, and go off into the sunset. Now, while that's not a bad idea for some people love their jobs. Some people love to work. But that is something that the education system has put upon us in order to have a workforce. That's basically it. The longer that you can work, the better it is for the U.S. economy. But is that the best thing for ourselves? For ourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually? I say for most Americans, the 50s is the optimum time that you should be looking at retiring. And there's a reason for this. While your body may be able to work into your 60s, sometimes into your 70s, it's not going to work as efficiently. And if you do work into those 60s and those 70s, what's left after you're done? If you work until your body has worn out, when you retire, what is there left for you to do? You don't get to enjoy any of that because your body is tired. All you're going to do is sit down, get that Social Security check or whatever pension you have, but you're going to have no desire to go out at 75, 80, and go out and do the things that you would do in your 50s. Now, some of us will. Some of us are going to retire and you're going to be in good health in your 60s and well into your 70s. I know some 70-year-olds that can run circles around me. But for the most part, given the diet and the lifestyles that most Americans live, by the time you're in your 60s, mid-60s to early 70s, your body starts to get weaker. The pain starts to get more. You're not as active as you used to be. That's why I believe the optimum time to retire is in your 50s. That's why when I'm talking to people in their 20s, in their 30s, and their 40s, that's why I'm so adamant that they need to get their finances in order so that you have that choice. And when you're in your 50s, that is when you're able to make the decisions that is going to most impact you for the rest of your life. The majority of people in their 50s, they're already at the top of their income level. They already have either their kids are almost done with college, their kids are done with college, or they're in some area where they can financially be comfortable if they have done the right types of investments and savings. So that is why I look at the age of 50s and say that's the best time. Me retiring at 55 was a good time for me. I'm still able to go out and be active, still able to spend time with the grandkids, still able to maintain a semblance of life that is very mobile that I know I'm not going to have when I'm in my 80s. That's just a fact of life. So when you're thinking about retiring, look at the 50s as being the prime time. Now, yeah, you can retire in your 40s. I've seen people that do the financially independent retire early, that retired in their 30s or even in their 40s. And that's okay, but you got to give up some things when you do that. If you're going to retire like that, under the normal scheme of things, you have to be very, very frugal. And you have to give up a lot of things. You have to think about important things like, am I going to have kids? Am I going to have a house? Am I going to be able to go out to restaurants and movies and enjoy those things from time to time? If I'm going to retire at age 40, you have to be very, very frugal. If you start to retire in your 50s, you're giving your time for your 401k to build up, for your IRA to build up, to have a brokerage account to build up. And you can make that decision now in your 50s to say, look, maybe I don't want to have $3 million in the bank. Maybe I don't want to have, maybe I can live on $50,000, $75,000, $100,000 a year. Maybe I don't need the other money, but that's a choice you get to make at that point in time. Trying to do it earlier, I believe you're going to put yourself in in a situation where you got to decide some things that you want in life you have to give up in order to spend the rest of that time living financially independent. On the flip side, if you wait until you're in your 70s and you wait until you're like 70 years old to go in and retire and start living your life, for those of us in the best shape of our lives, you might have another 5 or 10 years that you can go out and really do those things. And a lot of times you don't know what's going to happen in those times. That's when illnesses start to hit us, guys. Really, in our 50s and 60s, that's when we have to start going in, getting those colonoscopies, getting those cholesterol tests, getting those diabetes tests, those things like that, because that's when life starts creeping on us, and all the things that we've done in our younger years starts to come back to bite us. So if we've lived a life of partying hard in our 20s and 30s, or playing those sports that we got banged around, or going out and spending our time in construction, working on those hard jobs, in those 50s is when those pains start creeping up. And by the 60s, guys, they're there full force. And now we can't do those things that we used to do in the past. So that's why I think retiring in your 50s is the optimum time to retire. Like I said, this is not for everybody. I know some people. I have an aunt who is 90 years old and still working. And she enjoys her job. But you know what? That gives her something to do. And she has a choice. She is choosing. So that goes back to sometimes if you're in your 50s and you're in a job that you don't like, retire and do something that you like to do. Volunteer work, work part-time, or work at a job that is going to give you some happiness. It might not give you that big paycheck that you used to have, but you're doing something that you enjoy doing. That is what is important when you start getting into your 50s. There's not a lot of time. You'll find out time passes a whole lot faster in your 50s than it did when you're in your teens or even in your 20s. So those are things you need to think about. Also think about when you're retiring in your 50s, what kind of legacy do you want to leave? What kind of memories do you want to leave? What kind of things do you want to do to enjoy the latter part of your life? We spend all our youth working on that hamster wheel. Every day it's the same old thing. Getting up in the morning, getting in your car, driving off to work, putting in those 8 hours, driving back, getting home, eating supper, going to bed, doing that Monday through Friday. And then on Saturdays and Sundays is when you have your time. When you're in retirement, every day you get to have your best day. You want to go fishing on a day, go fishing. You want to go walking, go walking. Go hiking, camping. Whatever you want to do, you can do that in your retirement years. Me being retired, I enjoy it. I just came back from Greer, Arizona, having a wonderful time up there with some friends of ours. And I remember asking their kids who are in their 20s now, I said, so what are you guys going to do when you get back home? And they all sighed and like, I got to be back to work on Friday morning. I remember that feeling. I remember it. And I'm happy to not have that feeling anymore, because I understand now that I have limited time. I'm on the back end. I'm on the back end of that time. And it might be a back end of 20, 30, even 40 years. But out of that, at age 90, I'm not going to be over hiking up some mountain or over swimming in some beach at 90 years old. I mean, if God blesses me and I'm able to do that, good for me. But I'm talking about the law of averages. And the law of averages is saying I'm probably not going to be able to do that. So I want to do that now. Some of y'all who have 401ks and you're like, well, I can't do that. There's a thing called the rule of 55. Some companies have that. The rule of 55 allows you to access your 401k and not get the withdrawal penalty that you would normally have of when you're trying to pull that money out before you're 59 and a half. Look into it. Look into it. I just want you guys to understand that there are options. Don't always buy into this notion that you got to be 65 or 67 to retire. No. Some of you, if you have worked and you have built up a nest egg that you're able to retire, retire. If you don't like it, go back to work, but at least retire. See what that feels like. I'm telling you, you'll realize that extravagant money ain't everything. If you have enough to pay your bills, take yourself the occasional vacations, spend time with your family, you'll find out that is worth its weight in gold. So I hope y'all enjoyed my little rambling on about being retired in your 50s. And if you like that, leave me a comment. If you've retired in your 50s, leave me a comment and let me know how you felt. If you're thinking about retiring, leave me a comment and think about it. And even if you decided that you don't want to retire in your 50s, you want to retire, leave me and you want to retire later, put me a comment below and tell me why. And give me your reasons of why you're deciding to retire later in life. I would love to hear from you. And if you like my videos, guys, give me a thumbs up, subscribe. Tell your friends about this channel. Like I've told you before, I'm not coming in trying to sell you anything. I'm not coming in pretending to be some guru of finance. I'm a real person who retired at age 55, who started out understanding even in my 20s that I wanted to retire my life earlier than what society said I needed to retire in, which is 65 to 67 years old. So that's what I did. And I want to share that to you to let you guys know you can do it too. I don't have a PhD degree. I don't even have a college degree. But I managed to do this by understanding that I have to think outside the box. I can't go along with what they've told me in school or in college, how you have to sit down and follow society's rules, to take what society gives you to follow their rules in order to retire when you're in your later life, so you can just sit down in your rocking chair and let life pass you by in your older years. Not going to do it, and I don't want that for you either. So once again, I hope you enjoy my channel. And guys, if you want to retire when you're 55, when you're 53, when you're 59, there ain't nothing to it but to do it.